First, Israel's offensive in Gaza continues with an overnight strikes reported in the central parts of the Palestinian territory. The Israeli army preparing for a potential ground invasion of Gaza City. More than 30 people were killed by Israeli fire on Monday, and according to local officials, half of them were women and children. In the meantime, tens of thousands of Israeli reservists are being drafted today in the biggest call-up since the beginning of the war, according to local media reports. Yet media outlets are also reporting many reservists have requested exemptions and units are seeing lower turnout than in previous call-ups. Noga Tarnopolsky in Jerusalem joins me now. Noga, those are interesting figures on reservists requesting exemptions, aren't they?
That's right. And instead of a normal call-up, wartime call-up today, what we're seeing in Israel is immense tension. It's almost like a detective series unfolding on Israeli TV screens today, trying to understand what is the actual percentage who are going to show up. So 60,000 reservists have been called up for this latest effort. These are by and large men who have almost all already spent hundreds of days in this war. According to Haaretz, the turnout may be as low as 40%. In other countries, that may not be so significant, but in Israel, where the entire military is based on a reservist structure, and where, you know, in the initial shock after October 7th, the turnout for reservists was 130%. This is significant. What we've seen is the army engaging in various efforts so as to minimize these concerns, calling up units that have already been checked out, reviewed ahead of time to know that they will show up. Commanders being asked to check with each and every soldier ahead of time so as at least the appearance wouldn't be of such a low turnout. We also are seeing for the very first time during this war public announcements. Several hundred reservists who held a press conference today in Tel Aviv announcing they will not serve, and more public questioning. Part of this stems from just the extraordinary and extraordinarily complex situation in which these reservists are being called up to serve in a new war, in an expanded war that the commanders of the army oppose. So giving these orders when all of the soldiers know that the top brass of the army opposes this new maneuver is extremely complicated, and we're waiting to see clear figures if we ever do get them in the next few days.
And we're hearing reports that an Israeli cabinet meeting could possibly discussing the possible annexation of the West Bank.
That's right. Let's first just say that the actual annexation of the West Bank is a very complicated maneuver which would require months of military buildup and a supermajority in the Israeli parliament, which Netanyahu does not currently command. But there is constant talk, constant threat. So there is going to be what's called a small cabinet, a narrow security cabinet meeting of maybe just even 4 or 5 ministers this evening, in which what we have been told is that Israel is going to, this group of Israeli ministers is going to be addressing the threat of many European nations, many allied nations, including Canada and as of yesterday, Belgium, to recognize a Palestinian state this month at the United Nations General Assembly. And so this meeting is being called to address the ramifications of this, quote, possible diplomatic responses. All of this is code language for what Israeli ministers have been calling, and I quote now, I'm quoting the Foreign Minister Gideon Sa'ar, the imposition of sovereignty, of Israeli sovereignty over the West Bank. This could even end up in a declaration that is mostly for show, but it is significant, and it is very significant in terms of Israel's intentions regarding all of Palestinian territories in the West Bank and Gaza, where, as we stand right now, the government of Israel is not really open to any option except for its own takeover of all these lands.
Noga Tarnopolsky reporting there from Jerusalem. Thank you.